Good morning, everyone. Our gathering hymn is in your gray hymnal, number 298, Wake Now My Senses. And Eric is here to lead you because my voice is still not recovered from my bronchitis.
Wake now my senses and hear the earth call. Feel the deep power of being in all. Keep with the web of creation your vow, giving, receiving as love shows us how. Wake now my reason, reach out to the new. Join with each pilgrim who quests for the true. Honor the beauty and wisdom of time. Suffer thy limits and praise the sublime. Wake now, compassion, give heed to the cry. Voices of suffering fill the wide sky. Take as your neighbor both stranger and friend, craving and striving their hardship to end. Wake now my conscience, with justice thy guide. Join with all people whose rights are denied. Take not for granted a privileged place. God's love embraces the whole human race. Wake now my vision of ministry clear. Brighten my pathway with radiance here. Mingle my calling with all who will share. Work towards a planet transformed by our care.
Thank you, Brian. Good morning. Now, the welcoming statement is going to be something a little bit different today. Better? All right. So the welcoming statement is going to be different today. So I chose a blessing instead. It's by Noel Lehman, and it's titled An Elemental Body Blessing. And this blessing was originally written for a group of healthcare chaplains, but the author has invited a variety of adaptations. It was inspired by the beautiful words of Aaron Freeman, the author of You Want a Physicist to Speak at Your Funeral? All right, you ready? In neo-pagan traditions, we recognize 5 elements: earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. We call on these elements to help us in a variety of ways. And I invite you now to invoke the elemental blessing within your own body. Settle comfortably in your body in whatever way that means for you. Earth. For the element of earth, I ask you to consider your bones. Protein, collagen, and minerals make them up, mostly the mineral calcium. Calcium formed in supernovas racing across the universe billions of years ago, making up leaves, shells, and the limestone and gypsum of the Painted Desert and the white cliffs of Dover. Your bones are kin to the crust of the earth and every seashell in the ocean. May your bones remind you of your strength. Air. Take a deep breath with me. Hold it a moment and feel the pressure of the air in your lungs. Every red blood cell in your body carries oxygen, the basis of all energy transfer reactions on Earth. You are holding in your lungs a piece of the Earth's atmosphere, nitrogen and oxygen and others. Nitrogen from the outer reaches of our solar system, formed as the Earth herself grew from nothingness. Breathe out. And may that breath remind you of your own adaptability and movement. Fire. Your body is powered by fire. Listen for a moment for your own heartbeat. Lay your fingers on your wrists and feel it. Every beat creates electrical impulses which power your heart, enough each day to drive an electric truck 20 miles. Your brain, which controlled that touch and that awareness, fires electrical impulses at a rate of 500 signals per second per nerve cell, all powered by fire. Your mind is made of lightning, and your heart is a wildfire. May that fire rekindle joy and passion in every place where the flames have been guttering. Water. Continue to feel your pulse, the liquid life under your skin. We are born of water, cradled in amniotic fluid, the same salinity as the ocean. We remain made of more than half water, and our blood moves in tides like the ocean herself, carrying nutrients and wastes across each of our internal shores. Our plasma has nearly the same salt and ions as the sea, and our white blood cells and platelets are as ceaselessly vigilant for potential harm to us as the most loving mother. May the tides of your own blood wash away that which is unneeded and return to you all that you require. Spirit. The elements our bodies lay inextricably intertwined with our spirit. We are living temples, the stardust embodiment of the joys of the universe itself. We carry in ourselves oceans, mountains, lightning, and sky. Every photon of light which has ever touched our faces will exist in 100,000 sunrises forever. Every BTU of heat radiating from our bodies right now has been around since the creation of the universe itself. We are the manifestations of cosmos laughter, and may we hold that knowledge close as we share ourselves with each other and the world. May it be so. Ashe, Amen, Ta'ashu, Shatru, Shalom, Amen. Know that every particle of you is welcome in this space today. Good morning. I'm Jennifer. I'm part of your worship associate. I'm your worship associate this morning, and I'd like to welcome or introduce you to the rest of the worship team. Our musician today is Mark H. Our in-house tech person in the back is Nancy. Our remote tech is Molly. Our tech volunteers make it possible for you to participate in our services via Zoom from your home or your travels. So if you can't come in person, you can always reach us that way. We are glad you are here. If you're an in-person guest today and are willing and able to do so, we invite you to stand and tell us who you are and where you're from so we may better welcome you. Do we have any guests that wish to self-identify?
Hello, I'm Austin from Indianapolis. Welcome.
I'm Cliff, my wife Tammy, and we drove by and saw your sign earlier this week and thought we'd come here. So, yeah.
Great. Molly, do we have anyone online that would like to identify as a guest?
Not today.
All right. We invite everyone, guests and non-guests alike, for refreshments following the service. And now I direct your attention to your order of service. We have in the order of service our website, which is www.uuevansville.org. And that is where you can find our weekly announcements that are available. And also printed copies are on our welcome table. And you can have those delivered to your email weekly if you would like. Are there any other church-related announcements? Please come to the microphone.
Good morning. So there are a couple things I just want to draw your attention to. This coming up week is Racial Justice Week at University of Evansville. It's being hosted by Bridge, which is building, sorry, I just had it a second ago. Thank you. Respect, integrity in Greater Evansville. Thank you, Nancy. Okay, so the Racial Justice Faith Week is this week from the 3rd to the 9th. It's affirmatively advancing equity, civil rights, racial justice, and equal opportunity. They're the key principles in all our faiths. Racial justice is transformative to a better community. And on the 9th, which is next Sunday at 2 p.m. in the iCamp Center at University of Evansville, they're having an interfaith prayer service. Community prayer service open to anybody who wants to attend. So I'm going to try and go to that if anybody wants to meet up there. And then next Sunday, we have our Super Sunday, our Super Bowl Sunday fundraiser. So we'll have a variety of soups and breads to try and taste and have lunch next Sunday here after the service. We are gladly accepting donations for our children's programming. The suggested donation price per person is $5, but if you don't have that, please feel free to stay and have lunch. We won't turn anybody away. We'll have some drinks as well and some desserts. So come ready to fill your bellies with some delicious soup. We'll have to-go containers as well as if you can't stay. So that's next Sunday. And then this month, our RE, which is our Religious Exploration Program for our youth, we are entering into our February theme of inclusion. So I will be offering the service next Sunday on racial justice. So we hope you can attend next Sunday as well. If you have any questions, see me after church.
Good morning. I just want to remind you this Wednesday night, the 5th, I have to check, the 5th at 6 o'clock here in the church, we're going to have a talk by a professor, I think from USI, on Project 2025. Doors will open about 5:30. It's free. I'm sure it'll be very informative. He's given the talk in Henderson, and they had a big crowd. So we know Project 2025 is already happening. So if you want to know more, come Tuesday night.
Good morning. I have two things. The first is our Friends Night Out. Our next one for February is really not going to be a Friends Night Out. It's going to be a Friends Brunch Out. It will be on February 15th, which is a Saturday at noon at Copper House. There's a sign-up sheet on the visitor table. So if you haven't signed up or let me know, please do so that we can keep our reservation intact. You have until a week from Wednesday to sign up, but noon a week from Wednesday is when I'll cut it off and then firm up our reservations. So please let me know. The other thing I have to say is that I had the pleasure of visiting with Mary Helen and Dennis yesterday. For those of you who don't know them, they are members. They've been members for a long, long, long time, but they have not been able to come to church for a long time because of her health situation. They have donated to us a brand new microwave, and it's in the back of my car. So I will need someone to help me get it in after the church service. Okay, thank you.
I forgot to add, Bill Heminger, he is in charge of the Patchwork Central Food Pantry. I don't know if you all knew that or not, but he is looking for volunteers at the Patchwork Central Food Pantry. So if you need to know any information about that, you can see me after church. He also sent me an email about it, just with details. So if anyone is interested in helping out in the community, their food pantry just needs some volunteers.
Thank you, Ashley. I was going to mention that too. Well, yeah. Ken and I started volunteering last week. They needed volunteers particularly on Tuesday, but we filled that, so they need people on Thursday. It's really easy. It's just a small food bank. They have lists of what you hand out, so it makes it real easy. And we wanted to do it because it's just kind of our way of adding to the light among all the darkness. It's a small thing, but it can really help. And we had a good time, so if you want to check it out, check with Ashley. She has Bill's contact information. Thanks.
It's 9:30 to 11:45 are the hours. I wanted to give you an announcement from the UUA, which is the Unitarian Universalist Association, and we are in the middle of the 30 Days of Love for 2025, which is inhibiting our freedom dreams. And that always runs from MLK Day or Martin Luther King Day to Valentine's Day, and it focuses on various social justice themes. And you can get more information on sidewithlove.org. Week 1, which has passed, the theme was We Are Home from the Immigrant Justice Coalition, led by the United We Dream. And then week 2, which is just passed, the theme was Trans People Are Divine, and it was from the creators of the Black Trans Prayer Book. And week 3, which the information will drop on Tuesday, the theme is Water is Life, and it's from the Standing Rock protests against the Dakota Access Pipeline. And then week 4, that will be coming up next week, will be There Are Black People in the Future, from the artist Alshia B. Wormsley. And each week on the website, there are resources that have been and will be published that include a Side of Love message, which provides political education and context for each weekly theme with lessons and inspiration to move through these times. A journal practice to reflect and dream, to chart a course with clarity and care. A creative and artist practice to ground in the beauty and abundance of imagination. A body practice to ground us in our resilience and renewal, and a family-friendly, multi-generational activity that builds community as we take action for justice. So again, you can go to sidewithlove.org for more information, and you can sign up to get that information dropped in your email on Tuesdays, for the next 2 Tuesdays. And Molly, do we have any announcements from the folks at home?
No announcements.
All right, let us transform our welcoming statement into action by taking a few moments to greet one another. Please return to your seats when you hear the chime. The centering music will play. But first, wave to the folks at home. Thank you, Mark. May I have a volunteer for the chalice lighting, please? Sweet. I like it when people are enthusiastic and they jump up. The chalice lighting is by Cynthia Landrum, and it's entitled In the Bleak and Cold Winter. In the bleak and cold winter, we gather ourselves in to light the fire, to warm our spirits, to kindle the flame of our love and hope. Me too. And now it's time for the offertory. And before I begin the offertory reading, I want to let you know, if you are a guest today, please let the plate pass. Your presence is the gift. May I have 2 volunteers? The offertory reading is by Paul Dudzel. The title is This Place, These People. The offering we take each Sunday is an opportunity to recommit to this place and to these people. It is as much a ritual as singing together, lighting our chalice, or reciting our unison affirmation. It is a reminder of the form of love we call generosity. It is how we show that we believe it is important to worship together, to help our community, and to say yes to the values of our faith. Thank you for your generosity. And now it's time for the story for all ages. And I have to tell you, this does not have pictures, so you're going to have to use your imagination.
Once there were 2 children, a sister and brother named Bridget and Alex, who lived in a land where winter brought deep snows and much cold. The children loved to play in the snow, to make huge snowmen and dig tunnels in the high banks and have snowball fights. But every year they waited eagerly for Bridget's holiday to come around, for they knew it meant that the days would be getting longer and that someday spring would come again. One year, winter was especially harsh. Day after day, clouds filled the sky and the snow piled up on the streets. Night after night, a cold wind howled around the corners of the houses and blew smoke back down the chimneys. Bridget and Alex grew very tired of staying in the house, for on many days the air was too cold to play outside for very long, even when they wore their warmest jackets with wool sweaters underneath, and snow pants over their jeans, and an extra pair of wool socks in their boots, and all the hoods and scarves and mufflers they could put on. When they did go outside, they were so bundled up they could only waddle like penguins, and they were very tired of making snowmen and snow forts. How long will winter last? They asked their mother. Only the goddess knows, their mother said. Where can we find her to ask her? Bridget asked. Their mother smiled. Light a candle on Bridget Eve, look into the flame with an open heart, and wait. Who knows, maybe she'll come to you. After all, you are named for her. So on Bridget Eve, the two children lit a candle with their mother's help, placed it on the table, and looked deep into the flame. After a while, the flame seemed to grow and grow until it filled the whole room with a glorious light, and a beautiful woman appeared. Her hair was bright as living fire, her face dark as old wood, her cloak golden as a sunbeam. I am Bridget of the holy well and sacred flame, she said. Why have you called me, my children? Oh, Bridget, I am named after you, said the little girl. We called you to ask a question. How long will winter last? Alex asked. Winter will last until clean water rises in the sacred well and bright flame burns on every hearth, the goddess said, and then she disappeared. What does that mean? The two children asked. They went to their mother, but she could not say. They asked their father, but he only winked and said, That's the trouble with the goddess. It's hard to get a straight answer from her. So they went to bed unsatisfied. The next morning, they woke up early and decided that they would go from house to house in their village and see whether or not a good warm fire was burning on every hearth. And they would ask everyone if they knew of a sacred well. So they did. They bundled up in their warmest jackets with wool sweaters underneath and snow pants over their jeans and an extra pair of wool socks in their boots and all the hoods and scarves and mufflers they could put on and went outside, waddling like penguins. From house to house they went, all through their village. On every hearth, a warm fire burned, and while people were kind to them and offered them good things to eat and warm things to drink, nobody knew about any sacred well. At last, they had visited every house in the village. The only one left was the cottage of Old Man Mad Dog, which lay across the frozen fields on the very edge of the forest. Nobody liked Old Man Mad Dog. He was crusty and mean and didn't appear to bathe very often. And he was a stranger who had come from far away. When children came near his cottage, he yelled at them and shook his big walking stick. And when all the other people in the village were working hard, Old Man Mad Dog simply sat on his porch, rocking in his old chair and smoking his pipe. Stay away from him, parents told their children. He's a foreigner. He's lazy and dirty and probably dangerous. And so the children stayed away. But now, from the very edge of the village, Bridget and Alex could just see the roof of Old Man Mad Dog's house. There was no smoke coming out of his chimney. Surely the goddess couldn't have meant that we were supposed to light a fire on his hearth, Alex said. I'm afraid of him. He'll probably yell at us and shake his stick, Bridget agreed. But still, I think we should go see if he has a fire. So they did, wading through the deep snow that covered the fields so thickly they seemed to be walking in a tunnel as high as their heads. At last, they came to Old Man Mad Dog's house. The door was closed, and there was no smoke coming out of the chimney. Maybe he's not home, Bridget said. Maybe we should just go away. Let's look in the window first, Alex suggested. They peered in the small glass window and saw Old Man Mad Dog lying on his bed. There was no fire on his hearth. Maybe he's sick, Bridget said. We'd better go in and see. The door was not locked, so they entered the room. It was as cold as the cold air outside, and dirtier than any room Bridget had ever seen. Old Man Mad Dog lay on his bed, moaning and shivering with fever. We've got to help him, Bridget said. She brought him a drink of water, while Alex took an old blanket and shook it outside and then covered the old man. They ran out into the forest and gathered fallen wood until they had a big pile. Then they lit a fire on the hearth, and soon the entire room began to grow warm. They found some potatoes and carrots and onions in a bag and cooked up a nice hot soup. While it was simmering, they cleaned the house and swept the floor and washed the dishes. Finally, Old Man Mad Dog was warm enough to sit up and drink some soup. Pesky children, he said in a gruff voice. Never did like children. Still, suppose I ought to thank you. That would be polite, Bridget told him. But what we really want to know is whether you've heard of any holy well around here, Alex said. Holy well, Jingle Bell, Old Man Mad Dog said. I don't hold with your holy wells. The only well I know of is that old fallen-in well in the woods, and it's all full of garbage. Bridget and Alex looked at each other. Garbage? That didn't sound very holy. But still, it was the only well anyone had told them about all day. I guess we'd better go look for it, Alex said. We'll bring in some more wood before we go, and when we get home, we'll send our mother and father to take care of you. Don't do me any favors, said Old Man Mad Dog. But they both felt he didn't really mean it. Once again, they bundled up in their warmest jackets with wool sweaters underneath and snow pants over their jeans and an extra pair of wool socks in their boots and all the hoods and scarves and mufflers they could put on, and went outside, waddling like penguins. They went deep into the forest, following the opening between the trees. At last, they came to a small clearing. In the center was a ring of stones all tumbled down and scattered. They looked inside and saw nothing but a small puddle of frozen mud, all choked with stones and leaves and garbage. Could that be the holy well? Bridget asked. It doesn't look much like it, Alex said, but maybe if we clear it out a bit, we'll be able to see some water. They began prying up the stones and pulling out big lumps of things, which turned out to be cans and bottles and old rotting papers. Bridget took a big stick to clear away the fallen leaves. Alex took off his mittens and scooped out the mud. And soon, clear water began to rise through the mud. We can't do much more, Alex said. It's starting to get dark. We'll have to come back tomorrow and bring a shovel. But at least we've begun, Bridget said. You've done well, a voice said from behind them. They turned and saw the beautiful woman with hair bright as flame and a face as dark as old wood. You've begun the work, and that is all that anyone can do. Is this your holy well? Bridget asked the goddess. Yes, it is. A long time ago, the people of the village tended my well carefully, keeping it clean and dressing it with flowers in the spring. But now they have forgotten the way here, just as they have forgotten the law of kindness to strangers. Without the warmth of loving kindness, how can the days grow warm again? And when my clear springs are choked with dirt, how can the rains of spring fall? We'll remind them, Bridget promised. We'll bring everyone out here to finish cleaning up the well. And we'll make sure to keep a warm fire burning on Old Man Mad Dog's hearth, Alex added, even if he isn't a very nice man. The goddess smiled. Good. You have lit my fire and cleaned my well, and now I will tell you a secret. Inside the heart of every girl and boy is a holy well, full of the waters of love and joy and new ideas. This is the well you must keep clean, because it can easily be choked by hatred and greed and selfishness. And inside of you is also a fire you must tend and feed and keep burning, so that you grow to be strong and wise and brave. Will you do that? We'll do our best, they promised. And now spring will come? Bridget asked. Spring will come, the goddess promised, and she winked at them. Spring will come as soon as winter is over. And it did.
And for those of you that are new, we always sing the children out to religious education or religious exploration. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. The opening words are by Mahada Thomas at Mother Tongue Inc., and it's entitled Imbolc, Candlemas, or Candelaria, a celebration of returning light. Imagine yourself as a seed resting in the earth, dormant, dreaming. There comes a stirring, a knowing of what you are meant to be. Something cracks. A root births in the fertile dark, inching deeper so you may grow into the light. As we slowly feel our way through the dark, we may bump against the barriers of our own resistance. This is the shell of the old. Hold yourself here with gentleness, compassion, and patience. These edges will soften and make way for new growth. When facing our shadow, within and without, call on Goddess Bridget to light the way. Her heart is so bright she can illuminate the darkest of dark in the darkest night. We ask her to bless our creative inspirations with new possibilities. Welcome her graceful guidance into our healing hearts. Remember her promise of spring flowers, for she walks in blessed beauty, flower petals between her toes, and a dusting of golden pollen on her nose. She will nurture the patient seed held in the bosom of earth. And now is the time for sharing of joys and sorrows. Not every joy or sorrow can be shared openly in community. Some must be held in the heart. I have placed 2 pebbles in the bowls for experiences too dear to share. Let us take a moment of a silent meditation, prayer, or contemplation. Then we will sing hymn number 123 in the gray hymnal, The Spirit of Life. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Okay, so our message time is going to be a Imbolc blessing ritual, and I have an assistant that's going to be helping me. On the table, you'll see that there is one large candle in a glass jar, and there are small candles surrounding it. There's also rosemary, cinnamon, sage, and an incense stick. Those are the objects that we're going to be using. And also there's a lighter. So Imbolc, the word, its meaning isn't exactly 100% clear because it's an ancient word. Its possible meanings are in pre-Celtic and Celtic languages. It could be in the belly, as in the seeds of the earth not yet ready to sprout, or the ewes in the belly of the mama sheep that are about to be born. It also can come from a word that means milk, as in the sheep's milk of the mother sheep feeding her early lambs that are about to be born this time of year. It could also be purification from another possible word origin, as a time to cleanse the body, the mind, and the home to prepare before the activity of spring, that spring begins. And sacred waters are associated with this meaning. So this time of year is a time of life still unseen. We are nurturing life out of the frozen earth. Be gentle with ourselves as we envision this new life. Imagine the softness of a baby ewe's fleece. Give that comfort to yourself. And if I could have my assistant, yeah, there she is. I'm like, where are you? With all the candles before us, we start with the large candle, and we use these herbs. We start with rosemary, that symbolizes protection, purification, healing, and we sprinkle a little on the large candle and then on all the others. And just a pinch. Next, we use cinnamon. Cinnamon is fiery, and it symbolizes protection, purification, and boosting power. Again, we sprinkle a little on the large candle and then on all the others. And finally, we end with sage. Sage symbolizes protection, wisdom, healing, and purification. And again, we sprinkle a little on the large candle and then on all the others. Imbolc is also the feast of the goddess Bridget in the Celtic tradition, which is my heritage. She's associated with many things: healing, inspiration, poetry, music, childbirth, smithcraft, social justice, the hearth, and the home. She covers a lot of territory. So you can find many ways to celebrate Imbolc or honor Bridget in any of those areas of focus. Now with concentration, I'm going to read the Imbolc blessing. And as I read these words, please visualize all kinds of blessing energy coming from your aura and going into the candle. Please light the large candle. We bless our spiritual home on this winter's day and welcome all the promise of spring. Blessings radiate all throughout, refreshing all that's within. Candles speak, candle flame, candle burn all pain away. Now Susan will take the incense stick and light it from the large candle and light all the smaller candles. The blessing put into the first large candle is transferred to the other candles. This is a traditional way of working with Bridget. Now I would like some volunteers. I have small candles that will be carried to the kitchen, bathroom 1, bathroom 2, the large main room, the childcare room, and the credo room. And I have volunteers that might be willing to those candles to those various rooms. And you can take 2. You don't have to take 1. So I don't have to have 6 volunteers. And whoever's taking the one to the kitchen, that's to the office, make sure that you know. Yeah. And let Molly know that there are no herbs in that candle. Thank you for your participation. Now, if you do a similar blessing in your home, you can leave the candles for as long as you like, for safety reasons, lit candles. But we will be blowing them out at the end of the service. And if someone wants to follow me with this to turn them out, you can do so. It could be a communal event, or I can do them, but they will be turned out at the end of the service. And I want to let you know that this particular service was adapted from a blessing from Mickey Mueller, and I can give you a printout of this particular blessing that I've adapted with the words, or I could give you the links of where I found this. And also, ritual is all about focused intention and energy. Physics tells us that the energy of thoughts and emotion have power. That's science. But our ancient ancestors knew this long ago. That's how ritual was created. There is power in community, and there is power in community intention. So think of that as you ponder this blessing, and if you recreate it in your own home. Does anyone have any questions, concerns, comments about the blessing?
Good morning, I'm Susan. One of the great things about being old, Stephen, and I agree that when you hit 70, when I hit 70, I'm like, okay, I am old. You can no longer pretend. But is that there's still so much to learn. And it's awesome to have the time to do it. So when I saw the name of the service, I had never heard the word, and I went out, looked it up, got some things, and then Jennifer asked me to help. So on Saturday, I did some candles at home in this way. And one of the things that I loved about what I found was this idea about the seeds in the ground. We cannot see them, it's dark, and yet things are happening that we cannot know. And a little while after that, does anybody read John Pavlovich? So a couple of you know him. He was a Christian pastor whose ideas grew past the constraints of the typical, I shouldn't say typical, I don't know, but past his churches. And now he is on his own. And he has started what he called the Church of the Not Horrible. And in his mind, that means that we are not the people who believe that other people don't deserve love and caring and justice as much as we do. And he ended that passage, and it all seemed to come together. When you think about everybody in the world dealing with climate issues, crime, racism, immigration, go down the list. We haven't been those people, maybe, yet. But at the end of his paragraph, he said, let me remind you, we are made for the darkness. Thank you, Jennifer. Mm-hmm.
Anyone else have a comment? Okay.
Hi, I'm Deborah, and I have a couple of books from which I read passages, not every night, but I try. They're all dated for the particular day, and you read it, and it's just helping you go forward, either in the beginning of the day or at the end of the day, to kind of put your day in perspective. And the one last night was about moving from, if you divide the year up into the 3 phases of womanhood, you get crone, which is what we've just come out of, which we're coming out of now, the older woman being not fertile and quieter perhaps, and now we're moving into the maiden, and it's not quite the mother yet. We're not quite there yet. But it really reminded me that as we move through the year, that we will have different ways of approaching things. And right now, the whole beginning thing, the whole seeds in the ground and the germination of ideas and the positiveness that comes with looking forward and planning things to happen is a really important place and time.
Molly, does anyone at home have a comment or question or concern?
I don't see anyone.
All right, our closing hymn is from the Teal Hymn Book, number 1067, Mother Earth, Beloved Garden. Please stand if you're willing and able.
Mother Earth, beloved garden, living treasure underfoot, all the days you ground our being, sage and thistle, grass and root, herbs to heal us, plants to feed us, land to till and tend and plow, with the pendant deep as midnight north, we ask you be here now. Father, air your inspiration holds together all that lives. As we breathe, our minds see clearly, leading us to love and give. Raging whirlwind, whisper breezes, violent gale and gentle cloud. With the blade as sharp as morning east, we ask you be here now. Brother fire, great transformer, share the passion of the sun. In our hearts your warmth revives us, cooks our food will allow. With the cup, the holy chalice, West, we ask you be here now. Lover, spirit, intuition, in the center of our souls. In your love we find relation, all connected we are whole. Timeless mystery, quiet consumption's deepest values voice inside. With the drum and with the cauldron, this we ask you, be our God.
Thank you, Eric. The words that we say when we extinguish the chalice are in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth.
Warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
The closing words are by Eric Williams. Let us bless the earth. Let us bless the earth and all that is steady and firm. Let us bless the sky and all that is open and filled with light. Let us bless their union, wholly and without ceasing. Let us bless their children, the bounty of field and forest, stones, plants, animals, and all living things. May the gifts of the earth and sky strengthen, refresh, nourish, and heal the peoples of the earth. Amen, and blessed be. Go in peace, and may your presence bless the world.